Hey guys, Michael J. Crawford here, and welcome to What the is a Stardate? So, before you get really mad and start putting comments in about what an idiot I am, let me say this. I'm not referring to the well-documented and well-organized Stardate system that we see in the later iterations of Star Trek, starting with Star Trek The Next Generation, and continuing on through Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, and all the way through to the current era of Trek. I'm talking about in the original series when Stardates seemed to make no sense whatsoever. I want to see if we can make heads or tails of the Stardate system and figure out exactly what a Stardate even is in the original series. So let's start with the first actual on-screen depiction of a Stardate in real time.
Check elapsed time, Mr. Sulu.
Our chronometer's running backwards, sir.
So based on what we see on this clip, we can actually glean quite a bit. It would seem that a Stardate is a 24-hour day. Each Stardate is divided into a tenth of a day, and that's where you get the decimal. So when we saw Stardate 1704.9, it was shortly before midnight. However, at 1705.0, it was shortly after midnight. However, in the later clip, in the end of the time warp, we see the Stardate of 1702.0, where it is shortly after midnight again.
Sir. Power. Reversing.
.0 is about 3 Stardates before 1705.0, and at the end we hear Spock say this.
What did it do to us?
We've regressed in time 71 hours. It is now 3 days ago, Captain.
So, mystery solved. No problem whatsoever. We know exactly how Stardates work. Let's calculate a little bit of fun about James T. Kirk's career. The only time in Star Trek canon that Kirk actually stated his age was in the episode The Deadly Years.
Oh, I'm 34. I'm 34 years old.
Captain's log, Stardate 3478.2.
Okay, with these two pieces of information, let's take a look at Kirk through the years.
Captain's log, Stardate 1312.4. Is this some warning they've left behind?
Your move, Captain.
We should have intercepted by now. The bridge said they'd call. Captain's log, Stardate 5943.7. Captain's log, Stardate 7412.6. 1.8 hours from launch. In order to intercept the intruder at the earliest possible time, we must...
Captain's log, Stardate 8141.6. Starship Enterprise departing for SETI Alpha 5 to pick up the crew of USS Reliant. All is well.
Captain's log, Stardate 9529.1. This is the final cruise of the Starship Enterprise under my command. This ship and her history will shortly become the case.
So before we go on, I want to address a couple of things. First, why I think this is the best explanation of Stardates that you could possibly come up with, which is that it is the only explanation of Stardates that doesn't violate existing canon. That is, that existing canon does in fact show that one Stardate equals one 24-hour day, at least during the TOS era. And while I do know that some people don't like the fact that I'm using the remastered version of Star Trek because the original version of The Naked Time doesn't actually show Stardates on Sulu's console, the remastered version of Star Trek is in fact canonical. And while some people may not like that, well, I'm sorry, you can have your opinion, but you can't have your own facts. The other part is that, well, does line up fairly well as far as Kirk's general age range during the original series and during the movie era. However, it does also have a couple of problems. Most notably, that the 5-year mission during the original series takes about 12 years to complete. Also, we have this scene.
There's a man out there I haven't seen in 15 years. He's trying to kill me. You show me a son, I'd be happy to help him.
So the Khan incident happened around Stardate 8141, while the episode Space Seed took place in the Stardate 3141, exactly 5,000 Stardates earlier, which, interestingly enough, was 13.69 years, or, Kirk was approximating nearly 15 years earlier. It's almost as if Harv Bennett and Nicholas Meyer did their homework and purposely put it around 15 years later when they figured the star date for Khan. So maybe, just maybe, this is the right way. Despite the fact that the 5-year mission took about 12 years to complete, despite the fact that Kirk retired at the age of 50, well, I think that the 1 day to 1 star date is in fact the best way to calculate star dates in the TOS era. That being said, I do want to give credit where credit is due. Richie Poole, good friend and longtime supporter of the channel, has been going back and forth with me in comments about his thoughts on this, and he believes that we should continue to use the next generation system of 1,000 star dates per calendar year, which means 1 star date would only be a fraction of a day. The advantage to this would primarily be that the 5-year mission would still only be 5 years, because the totality of the star dates from the beginning to the end of the original series is only a little over 5,000 star dates. Let me explain where the problems would come in there. We can start off with the calculations we just did, since we know that the time from Space Seed to the Wrath of Khan is exactly 5,000 star dates. If 1,000 star dates is 1 year, that means there's only 5 years between the two, which means that Kirk has no idea what he's talking about when he says it's been 15 years since he's seen Khan. Just for fun, let's take a look at that timeline we played earlier, except adjusting for the 1,000 star dates per year timeline.
Oh, I'm 34. I'm 34 years old.
Captain's log. Stardate 1312.4. Is this some warning they've left behind?
Your move, Captain.
We should have intercepted by now. The bridge said they'd call. Captain's log, Stardate 5943.7.
Captain's log, Stardate 7412.6, 1.8 hours from launch. In order to intercept the intruder at the earliest possible time, we must...
Captain's log, Stardate 8141.6. Starship Enterprise departing for SETI Alpha 5 to pick up the crew of USS Reliant. All is well.
Captain's log, Stardate 9529.1. This is the final cruise of the Starship Enterprise under my command. This ship and her history will shortly become the case.
So yeah, I have to say that if you look at it objectively, I think that if you put 1,000 star dates per year, you do fix the 5-year issue for the mission, the 5-year mission of the original series, but you make Kirk implausibly young for the movie era. I do think it makes more sense to do 1 star date per day for the original series era, and just assume that in some way they changed the calendar sometime between then and the TNG era. Anyway, that's just my opinion. If you have a different opinion, please leave a comment. I'm curious to see what you have to say. Take care.
Hello. We wear toques in the winter, eh? Hello. What is this about? Hello. I love Putin.